Hi everyone, Babula and I are back with you for our astrology now, and we have a full moon in Virgo coming up very soon. And for me, I think I'm feeling it's a little bit more consolidating. What about you, Babula?
That's a very interesting way to describe it. Consolidating. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Sort of
What's
bringing a few things together.
okay?
Yeah, and grounding and being more in my physical body,
Yes.
those sorts of things. Because we've had all this Aquarian energy, haven't we? And it's all been electrical and out in the, and we've had storms recently here in Queensland, in Australia, and tonight it's very calm, which is when we're recording. It's very calm, and it's just like
It does feel like that at the moment. That's true. Yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
feel quite so kind of almost frenetic. It's just so much strong, stimulating energy.
yeah, and it's been quite chaotic lately too, hasn't it? It's been a
Very.
real sense of that energy, just and busyness and
Yeah.
um, and things changing so quickly.
Well, one of the factors, of course, is that Mercury's gone direct again, which is always very comforting when that happens. He's rather prone to manifesting as all sorts of, chaotic things. He's a bit, the trickster we often call Mercury. And so it's, in fact, on that, I think another reason you're feeling like that is that since Mercury went direct a few days ago, there are now no planets retrograde.
Ah,
All of the planets are now in direct or forward motion until it's around about the 27th of April. So we've got a couple of months now where there are no retrograde planets.
so no heavy, intense focus on certain things.
Yeah, and there's like all of the planets from our perspective on Earth, where we sit on Earth and look out at the sky and watch the planets moving, they're all just moving forward. And so there is a sense of the energy just feels more like it's moving forward. And that can be a positive thing. It can be a challenging thing in its own way, I guess. Maybe sometimes you might feel like they're moving forward too fast, but there's this forward momentum.
Yes.
And with the retrograde planets, like often there's periods of the year when there's a bunch of retrograde planets all happening around the same time. That's very common and quite normal. And it feels like things are a bit slower. It's a bit more heavy going, perhaps. We're going back over old things, but it's a sense now of forward momentum. And it's actually what I noticed when I kind of realized this. I went, oh, there's no retrogrades at the moment. And I checked to see for how long. And I realized, oh, actually, I can see it. I'm getting on with things. I'm planning. I feel like I'm thinking ahead. I'm moving forward. I'm trying to work out schedules a little bit and, look ahead for the next few months. And I think that's a very good way to use that energy now for the next 2 months or so.
And Virgos can be quite methodical too, can't it?
Very.
So it's like one step in front of the other, in front of the other. There's no to the side or this or that. It's just, straight down the path and moving, but in a particular direction. And that's what I was feeling, that we've had all this chaotic energy around us. But it's like, for me, I'm feeling that it's all coming together as we move forward, channeling.
Yes.
Channeling.
That's right. That's right. And as an earth sign, all the 3 earth signs, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, are all fundamentally pragmatic, aren't they? Pragmatic, hands-on, practical, they help us to be sort of useful and a bit organized. Virgo loves to be organized. So, for the few days when the moon is full in the sign of Virgo, in fact, every month when the moon's in Virgo for those couple of days, it's just like, in fact, I've just realized just today, I've been thinking about it for weeks, like just trying to sort out all my papers around me in my office. I end up with piles of papers and I'm looking for bits. And I thought, okay, I need to reorganize everything. And I wasn't even thinking Virgo moon, but there you go. I
Yes.
literally just got them all out, spread myself out, reorganized my files, threw a whole lot of papers out in the recycle bin, and thought, oh God, that feels so much better. So Virgo moon, clear the space, energetically clear things, sort things out.
Yes.
Get
Yeah.
rid of stuff that we don't need.
Yeah. And it's Virgo is also about health too, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
of all every sign in the zodiac has health issues, but Virgo is the sign of health, illness, healing, medicine, medical matters, and so on, for sure.
Mm. So that's interesting for myself, particularly sorting
Right.
out a few physical health things. So
Yes.
and feeling good about it in certain ways.
Yes, and that, that issue around health and Virgo, there's lots to say about that, actually. Like if somebody comes to me as an astrologer and they ask a question about their health, my eye is going to go straight away to the sign of Virgo. Do they have anything in Virgo in their chart, or anything in the 6th house of their chart, which is the Virgo house? So that's, the first place. But in Virgo, we actually we get very good at the particulars, the details.
Yeah.
So when there's a health issue, we want to pull it apart, look at the details, the specifics, get information, do research. Maybe you get a few different opinions, make some changes to our daily routines, our diet. We're trying to sift through all the information and figure out exactly what's going on, with a fine-tooth comb, because Virgo loves the detail. And that's one of the beautiful qualities of Virgo is it's, that poem by T.S. Eliot when he talks about, looking at it I used to remember this whole stanza, but I can't remember it. Looking at the universe in a grain of sand.
Yep.
It's that, like, right down into the minutiae, into the very specific. Like if an artist is painting, their paintings are often small, detailed, precise, painting flowers, nature, that kind of thing. It's not the big, broad brush strokes.
Yes. Yeah. So you said before that it's all about the details. So to be able to notice details, Virgo is quite observant.
Very observant.
Yeah, and because it's observant, it sees flaws and weaknesses too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So it has a reputation very often for being, critical, nitpicking, overly fussy. Every sign, if you take it to its more negative expression, then the Virgo negative expression is a tendency to only see what's wrong with things, to only see the problem, to worry, to fret, to pull things apart to a point where you've almost kind of destroyed something because you're so busy trying to find out what the problem is, and the focus is often on the problem, which in some situations that's not bad. If you're a medical practitioner of any persuasion, you are going to want to go in with detail to try and understand exactly what's happening. If you're cleaning, you can get very particular, and then you end up with something pristine and beautiful.
Yeah.
But that tendency towards negativity can actually blow out to a condition that we call obsessive compulsive disorder. And every sign, has those kinds of expressions, but in Virgo, that's one that can develop. And if you look at the underlying causes, it can be a lot of anxiety and stress and trying to control a situation that feels like it's out of control. That can then manifest in, like, everything around me has to be controlled to the finest detail, because the sign that's opposite Virgo is Pisces.
Uh-huh.
And of course, a full moon is when the sun is opposite the moon. So the
Yeah.
sun is now in Pisces.
Pisces, yeah.
4 weeks. And for the few days when the moon's in Virgo in the opposition at the full moon, you've got this endeavor to find the balance of those two polarities, because when you sit in Virgo and look across to Pisces, in Pisces from Virgo, everything looks like it's just in chaos. You know, there is nothing is defined. It's all diffuse and chaotic and nebulous and all over the place. And so Virgo's always trying to bring things back to the particular.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so there's often a lot of anxiety that comes up in this sign, and worry and fretting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it can also be like, in terms of health, it can be a tendency towards, you know, being a bit obsessed with our health, or, you know, waking up in the middle of the night worrying about health issues, or even becoming a little bit hypochondriacal. And I don't like to use that word because, you know, I think too many things are blamed on that, you know.
Yes.
And you know, we do know our bodies, and, you know, but yeah, it can kind of go in that direction for sure.
Yeah. Wow. So we've got the full moon in Virgo on what date is it?
It's exact on the evening of Saturday the 27th here in the east coast of Australia.
Right. Yes. Okay.
And now, very interesting, if we look at Brisbane timing or Queensland timing, because I think the southern states still have daylight savings.
Yes.
I don't think that's come out yet. So here, where we are, the full moon occurs exactly on sunset. So it's exact at 6:17 p.m., which is the moment on that day of sunset. So the sun is literally in the western sky, literally just setting on the horizon, just going down, and the moon is literally just rising. So if anyone has an opportunity to be in a landscape where you've got a clear view of east-west horizon, you're going to see that the actual moment of sunset is the exact moment of the full moon in Queensland anyway, on that dateline, you know.
You don't often see that, do you?
No. It can occur any time in the day or night, but this one for us is occurring right on sunset. So it makes me think of Mount Cootha.
Oh, yes.
You know, you can't really see the western sky, but you can and many people go up there, don't they, to watch the moon rise on full moon. Yeah. So as the moon's coming up on the horizon, it'll be the moment of sunset. Pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Actually. So, you know, Virgo Pisces is an interesting polarity, and it's always, I think, helpful to understand polarities at the full moon, because the full moon, of course, is the halfway point of the monthly or monthly lunar cycle. So, you know, the Virgo Pisces axis, it is interesting in that, well, they all are. As I've said, you know, Virgo is the specific and the particular and the detailed, and Pisces is more the sense of wholeness and the oneness of absolutely everything, where there is no separation, and you know, it's just oneness. So both of these signs have got a lot to do with healing. In Pisces, it's more about healing energetically, spiritually, the soul, emotionally. In Virgo, it's very specific about the body, and healing plants and herbs and diet and a healthy diet and exercise, you know, our day-to-day routines and so on.
So it's a good time to establish those new routines.
Yeah, or to really be, you know, paying some attention to that. But I mean, when we get into when the sun's going through Virgo later in the year, that's a whole 4-week period where that's a really fantastic time. But this full moon might highlight, bring our awareness, our consciousness to perhaps some health issues, or we might just go, you know what, I need to make some changes to my diet or to my routine, or suddenly we're motivated, to want to actually do something about it, because the full moon is really highlighting and bringing a lot of energy and focus to that, Yeah. But service is a key of these two signs as well. How do we feel like we want to offer our skills, which is a Virgo word, work, skills, service.
Yes, and I've noticed that when I go to, say, dinner or socializing with people, it'll be the Virgo that will say, "Can I get you anything?"
Exactly. It's true.
Is there anything I can help you with?
Yeah, how can I help you is what
Yes.
that's where they're coming from. How can I help you? How can I be and you'll find in any service industry, whether it's in restaurants and cafes, all the trades, the people who work with their hands in trades, we call the plumber, the electrician, the handyman, that's all Virgo territory. Like I love people who know how to fix stuff.
Yes.
And use their tools and have those kinds of skills. That is so Virgo. They're just like Virgo sun people, most of them are just born. They just have this innate understanding and interest, and they're interested in acquiring those skills and learning them. Nurses, people in all the medical professions. Virgo energy.
And Virgo is quite discerning too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So would we find more Virgos in law, for example?
Not so much. I find law is much more related to Libra. Scales of justice.
Yes, the scales of justice. Yes.
And Sagittarius to a degree as well. It's more any kind of environment where service work is happening, and any areas of health and medicine and healing, both, the more sort of mainstream scientific sort of medical systems, established systems, and also the more natural, we can use the word traditional health, but it depends how you look at that. I'm talking about the traditional natural health systems, but also, modern medicine. You'll always see Virgo.
Yeah.
And work and service. And Virgos can be prone to a certain amount of workaholic tendencies, like there's always more work to be done. But really, for those couple of days of the full moon, don't be surprised if you suddenly feel overcome by just this need right now to get out there and, clean out some cupboards, take a few loads to the op shop of stuff you don't need anymore. Yeah.
The other thing I've noticed about Virgo too is there is a when there's some imbalance, they can go to the extreme. They can. I often see them as being quite extreme, and I know this with some people that I've been close to. Say, they need to. Say they need to lose a little bit of weight and they'll go on a diet, but it will be a diet to the extreme,
Yeah. Yeah, it can absolutely become a little obsessive.
Yes, yeah.
And it can actually, like I mentioned OCD before, and I've become aware there seems to be an increasing issue I've noticed in the last few years. I see it a lot around me to various degrees, some like really full on, fully blown, others, a milder version. And I do wonder whether it's a manifestation of rising stress and anxiety levels in people in general, because we live in a very challenging world where a lot feels like it's out of our control. And perhaps there's some kind of response, like if I can be in control of this and this and this in my daily life, I feel like I'm more in control.
Yes.
There's something like that, I think. And so what you just said about somebody going on a diet, it can push it right to more of an extreme version. And it can then become a kind of a new habitual pattern.
Yes. And like people who want to get a bit of exercise, they can push it to the extreme and end up jogging for 10 kilometers, which doesn't do the knees or hips any good. But you know, those sorts of things, they just go too far.
But, you know, because there's an underlying thing in Virgo. You know, Virgo, the word Virgo relates to the word virgin. And what virgin actually means, the original source of the word, it means pure, sacred, holy. It's this desire in Virgo for purity.
Yes.
That's why this thing about clean. You know, if you walk into a home, for example, where the person or people in it, there's a lot of Virgo energy there, everything has this, it's not only visually clean and tidy and in order, energetically it's often, because you know there's a great deal of care is taken on a daily basis to keep everything so. You can even feel it. It can almost feel like you're walking into a temple. Everything feels just clear, pristine, quite exquisite. It's a very fine sign. Virgo and Pisces are quite fine energetically. But as I said, that can also then get distorted into a, you know, you can't touch anything without feeling like, oh, I shouldn't touch that, or don't put that there, you know, it's the wrong place, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yet having said that, I know some real slovenly Virgos too. This is what I'm talking about, the extreme. They're either really, really tidy or really, really messy.
It does happen. And I've had so many mothers say, oh my God, you should see my teenage Virgo son's room. But that same person, like the teenage will grow and develop and probably change their ways. But even with an adult who's a Virgo and is like that, have a look at other aspects of their life. Like their work will be extremely important to them. You know, that work, I mean, they're amazing workers, like work. That it will, and their mind might be it's a strong mind in Virgo. It's ruled by the planet Mercury.
Yes.
It's interesting, but when they get home, there might be just like mess everywhere. You don't see it that often, but you do sometimes see it.
Well, I knew a Virgo who was quite messy around the house, but he was an accountant. And I knew another one who was very messy around the house, and he was an engineer.
That's right.
You're right. So it's, yes, I see what you're saying.
So it all goes into their work.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, you know, spiritually, this is super interesting too. I find Virgo a really fascinating sign because it's quite a maligned sign. You know, people often feel like, oh my God, I feel like all the Virgos are just always criticizing me. But as I said, it's actually coming from this place of trying to, you see, if you think about it, if a tradesman, like, if you need a tradesman to do a really good job, take the time to find a Virgo. They will do a perfect, beautiful, immaculate job. And not only that, they will clean up after them. And their van, their ute will be in perfect order. All their tools will be clean, well organized. They're going to do a really good job because they can't not do that, you know. But spiritually, it's very interesting. Virgo connects us to the feminine principle. It's an earth sign, the earth, nature providing all our needs, actually, food, herbs, medicine, plants, and so on. And it has a very strong connection to what we could call the divine feminine or the goddess. And I have seen this in so many people that I know. There's just this natural feeling of, you know, the earth is sacred. You know, nature is the temple. The body is the temple. I want to respect it, look after it, treat it well. You know, it's coming from there. And then there are those who don't care about that, but they're totally focused on their work. Yeah. Or it can be a combination of all of that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I remember reading once Virgo being men of the trees. Just, but men and women, humans.
Yeah, very interesting. Yes.
So Yeah, and that's interesting too, because Virgo often can't see the forest for the trees. So
yeah, it can get absolutely lost in the detail.
yeah, but very connected to the earth as well.
Very, very. That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So we've got a few things going on then with the full moon in Virgo. What
Yeah.
else is? And
So
then you mentioned the sun in Pisces.
Yeah, the sun's in Pisces, so that's worth talking about. Like in some of the many of the previous sessions of these that we've done, there's been just so many big planet movements and alignments going on, like massive things, many, 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 just in the period of a couple of weeks. It's actually a lot quieter at the moment.
Well, thank goodness.
Start. It feels, for one thing, there's no planets retrograde. We're in the sign of Pisces. The sun is in the sign of Pisces. And there are we've had the first Saturn-Uranus square. Now that's pretty much in play all year, but the exact square has kind of eased off a bit now. And things are relatively calm for a while. So I think we should all just chill, which is a very good message in the month of Pisces anyway. In fact, Pisces, as the last sign of the zodiac, is very much about emptying out, letting go, relaxation, taking time out, not pushing, being very fluid, very adaptable, taking it easy. I mean, I know that circumstances don't always allow that. Regardless of what sign the sun's in, things just have to be done. But as much as possible, I always recommend to people during these 4 weeks, when the sun's in Pisces, and it's already been here now for 1 week, we need to find ways to be really easy on ourselves, kind to ourselves, compassionate towards ourselves and others, relax, chill, take a chill pill, as they say. The really funny, and this may be true for some people, metaphor is, light up a joint and just chill, man. that kind of energetic. Like, just if we take some time out, because every year when the sun's in Pisces, if we just keep trying to push and force things, it's really hard. We get really tired, exhausted, drained. So it's very important to make the most of this time to, as much as our circumstances allow, unplug a little bit, take some time out, just, take a day off on the weekend and flob on the couch and watch a few movies, if you're able to do that.
Yeah, or just relax and be creative. Paint something.
Paint something. Put your headphones on and some divine music and just relax. Listen to some meditations, sit in meditation if you're a meditator, or just listen to some beautiful guided visualizations, guided journey meditations. Go to the beach, just sit there and just gaze out to sea and don't think about anything. This is really good medicine when the sun's in Pisces, because if we see the zodiac as a journey from Aries to Pisces, Aries representing the beginning of the new cycle. In fact, for astrologers, the new year actually happens when the sun enters Pisces at the equinox on the 20th or 21st of March. That's actually the astrological beginning of the year, because the Aries energy kicks in and away we go.
Yes.
Pisces is the sign before that. That's why a lot of Pisceans don't have really strong, robust energy. They just don't, unless there's a lot of fire in their chart. But even then, sometimes they just need to flop. So it's so helpful if we understand that. Look, as soon as the sun goes into Pisces, people start saying, "Oh, I feel so tired all of a sudden." That's right. Get more rest, get more sleep, go to bed early, take a bit of time out when and where you can. Have a bath, water. This is the water element.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of water. go swimming, just float in a lake, you know, however you're able to make the most of this, because when the sun goes into Aries, if we've been able to rest and also let go of stuff, you know, Pisces, let go, let go, let go. It's a sign of dissolving and dissolution. Then when the sun goes into Aries, it's okay, we're ready, let's go. You know, that's the sort of way it works. So I always encourage that with people, and sometimes, like a good friend of mine, in fact, I've had two people say, perfect timing, I'm off on a holiday.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like this is a really good time of the year to take a holiday. By water, by a river, by a lake, by the sea.
Yeah. I'm there.
Yes.
I'm already there. I've got the place in mind.
It's like somebody standing in the surf fishing rod. They don't even care if they catch a fish. They're just like, you know, enjoying being there. And it's that sense of when we're in a beautiful place in nature, we all know it, or by water, it's soothing, it's healing. Everything just feels more relaxed, calm. All's well with the world. You know, have a beautiful bath with some lovely music, or just silence, the need for silence.
Yeah, don't we need that though? You know, like all the things that we've been through, and this year, you know, it's just on and on and on, and it's just like, just want to stop, take a breath, and take a break. Yeah,
exactly. It's been relentless, full on. That's right.
Yeah.
So the sun is in Pisces for these 4 weeks, and on the full moon for those couple of days, the sun is still in Pisces. When we have a full moon, the two signs that the full moon are in are fully highlighted and like illuminated. It's the sun and the moon, what we call the luminaries, the two strongest lights in our sky. The one is the daytime light, the other is the nighttime light. And when she's full, she's at full illumination. You know, lumens, as we now talk about when we buy our light bulbs, you know, the luminosity of the sun and the moon. So she is at her absolute full brightness, fully lighting up that energy of Virgo in the nighttime. And and the full moon is also about the culmination of the cycle that actually began at the new moon in Aquarius 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So and you know, if you think about nature, we've talked about this before. In nature, and so many people know this, people who are gardeners, who are fishermen, who work in emergency services, they all know that, and people who work with health, medical astrologers, they've got a whole lot to say about medical treatments on a full moon. It's very real, like so much. The energy is so, meditators, the mystics talk about the full moon. You know, if we meditate on a full moon, the energy is so different and the experience is so different to when we meditate on a new moon, when the moon is dark. So it's like just everything is up, you know, everything is just fully alive and awake. But here we are in these two very quite subtle, refined signs of Virgo and Pisces, signs of service, signs of health and healing. Interesting. So
it is
very good for us to be kind to ourselves, you know, take it easy.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, it's interesting how when the planets move, things happen on the planet, on Earth.
They do.
Here in Australia, we've got the AstraZeneca vaccine is rolling out. And here we are talking about health and full moon in Virgo, right? So the timing is always interesting. Now, not all countries are going to have the vaccine rolling out at the same time, but they'll have it playing out in a different way.
That's right.
Yeah.
The issue is still very front and center everywhere.
Yes.
Many countries, it's already happening with that and so on. But, you know, medically speaking, Pisces governs the immune system.
Mm.
It also governs drugs,
Mm.
prescribed drugs, non-prescribed drugs, in a positive sense and also in the negative sense. And their impact on the body, their impact on the psyche, their impact on the chakras, the crown chakra, I think, is very associated with Pisces. And also the feet. It's so interesting, in Pisces we've got two fish.
Yeah.
And they're facing in opposite directions, but they're connected by a cord, by a silver cord. It's very symbolic of a couple of things, of the soul's earthly human experience and the soul's connection to source and the divine home from whence it has come, from spirit. So in Pisces, and for Piscean people or people that are Pisces, they will relate to this very strongly. There's a sense of, part of them is always kind of oriented back towards spirit and soul and where we came from, while we're here having an earthly experience. It's this incredible duality of both going on. So the feet help to ground us in earthly reality. And so, Virgo is the opposite sign.
Yes.
It's an earth sign, isn't it? And, the health of our body reminds us we have a body, for sure. Things go wrong in the body, don't they? And we go, oh my God, I've got to deal with my body. Pisces often wants to escape the body because it feels this, call back to spirit all the time. So, and Pisces is the feet, but it's also the crown chakra. It's both of those polarities. It's a very interesting phenomenon. So, forgot why I got onto that, but anyway.
Well, you were talking about the two fish.
The two fish,
yes.
You see. And so there's this duality, but they're connected. Like those of us who, those of us, I don't, not consciously anyway, I shouldn't say thus, but those people who have lucid dreaming or who consciously astral travel. Now, I don't remember dreams, very, very rarely. I'm one of those, but occasionally I remember a vivid dream. So I have no idea what happens in the night, and I'm fine with that. I'm sure I'm going all sorts of interesting places, but I wake up and I don't know. I'm okay with that. But they say that, the soul is connected to the body in each incarnation by a silver cord, don't they?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I think that's such a Pisces idea. This is the silver cord that connects the two fish until we actually leave this life and leave this body and return back to source, until the next incarnation. And Virgo has got so much to do with our actual daily experience in the body, our work, our daily routines, our health, our diet, all the details of actual embodied human life. While Pisces connects us to the sense of soul and spirit and the wonder and the mystery of it all. Virgo analyzes everything, gets down to all the analytical, precise details. Pisces is at the beach just gazing out to sea, just in awe of the mystery, and doesn't care about the details. It's having this experience. But the signs are connected to each other. They're not separate. And that's where signs in polarity at full moon are so interesting to observe and experience and pay attention to. You get a taste of both signs.
I'm just thinking while you're talking, it's like Virgo is the rock that holds us on the planet and grounds us.
Yeah.
So that our soul is free to go out and dream.
Yes, the dreaming, yes.
But remain connected.
That's right.
Virgo holds us there, but because we're held like that.
Yes.
And if you have a relationship like that, that works really well too. So you have one person who's the rock in the relationship.
That's
so that
right.
It allows the other person and gives them the freedom to go out then and dream.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that can work really well. And you'll often see it in relationships. Someone's the more kind of pragmatic, grounded person, and the other person might be more that more freedom oriented and need
Yes.
to expansively go out. In fact, a good friend of mine said once about her marriage, which has been a beautiful couple, and she said, he's the detailed person. He takes care of all the details because that's natural to him. I'm the big picture person.
Yes.
It's that kind of thing. And if both people are conscious and good with that, can work absolutely beautifully.
As long as you're speaking the same language.
Exactly. And that's not a battle and a source of problem. That's right. As long as you're kind of still on the same page.
Because the big picture person will say, well, I'll just be talking about something, and the Virgo will say, yes, but how do you do A, B, C, D, E? And it's almost like bursting the bubble.
That's right. That's right. So, in Pisces, there can be this sort of vision and this big picture and this sort of gazing into the wonder. And Virgo says, well, I'll take care of the specifics.
Yes.
I'll get to work on the details. You keep doing the dream, doing the dreaming, the dreaming of what's possible, the dreaming of where we could go with this, and I'll take care of the specifics and the details. So, and of course, all this can be going on just in the one person, obviously. There are many people who've got Virgo and Pisces strong in their chart. People who are born in the 60s have a couple of strong planets in Virgo and in Pisces. They've got a strong theme of that in their chart.
Interesting. Because I've been thinking recently that, we've had like in Australia, the Aboriginal people have what they call the dreaming.
Yes.
And they can dream things into being.
Yes.
And it's like now we're dreaming in a new way of living, aren't we? We're dreaming in a new way of operating, communicating, behaving, responding. Right. We're dreaming in a new future, which is post 2020, which started it all.
That's right. And imagination. A lot of people have very negative ideas about imagination, that if it's something in your imagination, it's just a fantasy and it's not real. But imagination is such an important aspect of the human experience. All art and creative expression comes out of that imaginative realm of Pisces. Virgo is the skill to be able to pick up the paintbrush or the guitar or whatever it is and actually bring it into form and manifestation in some kind of shape. And we learn skills and techniques, but Pisces is the muse, the imagination, the possibility. And when someone who's very creative artistically in whatever form, when they get lost in that realm, and I paint, and I've had this experience sometimes where there's all the struggle with trying to get it right, but sometimes the music is on and you get into this flow, and it's almost like the painting paints itself. They are the moments that we absolutely love. Then there's a kind of a Piscean, Neptunian letting go. And then afterwards you look back and go, wow. Yeah, because you're not so worried about how am I going to do it. Somehow it's a flow and it's just happening. And a lot of musicians know this. Pisces and music absolutely goes together. And it's no accident that, music and drugs and alcohol go together as well. They're all part of the same story.
Yes. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Exactly. And then some point, you have to kind of clean up the mess and, clean house and clean the body and get healthy. That's right. That's right. So I thought maybe we should go through just some of the other things that are happening over the next couple of weeks. We've had a lovely chat about Virgo and Pisces.
Haven't we, though?
Yeah. So, on the 27th is the full moon, and Venus, she's been in Aquarius for the last 3 weeks or so. I mean, it's one of the big gang of planets. Stellium is the astrological word in Aquarius, but she's just moved into Pisces. And that was on the 25th. And Venus does very well in Pisces, and it's, you know, we know that Venus rules or governs or belongs to Libra and Taurus, but we say that she's actually exalted in Pisces, meaning it's a sign that Venus does very, very well in. She has an affinity for the sign of Pisces. And if we think about it, the goddess Venus, Aphrodite herself, in Greek Roman mythology, was literally born out of the sea, of the ocean, out of the ocean, which is Pisces. And she came to Earth on a beautiful big shell. She's surrounded by cherubs and angels, and she steps onto the land. And, you know, there's all this kind of Piscean imagery around it. So that's quite beautiful, and that's sort of just adding more energy to this Piscean theme that we're talking about. And Venus in Pisces is very, very beautiful for romance both in terms of relationship romance, but just is there any romance in your life? You know, what does romance even mean? This way, I'm not talking about buying someone flowers. It's, you know, it's like itself, and any forms of creativity or art and pleasure and enjoyment, that's very relaxing and soothing to heart, body, soul, and mind, you know. So, okay, and so the 27th of Feb, full moon, on the 4th of March, Mars will leave Taurus and go into Gemini.
Mars in Gemini.
Mars in Gemini, and he'll be in Gemini for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
But that will be very noticeable, and I would suggest that on the 4th, if we're paying attention, we're going to notice a shift of dynamics, because Mars is an action planet, you know, masculine, yang, warrior, action, making decisions, getting things done, making things happen, choices, go for it kind of an energy. And while it's in Taurus, it's been moving, you know, steadily and strongly and pragmatically towards whatever goals Mars has set in place. In Gemini, we come out of that earth realm, that practical realm, into air. Mind. So Mars really stimulates the mind when it goes into Gemini. There's going to be 6 weeks where our minds are just going to be pinging off everything. You know, and we're going to be very active mentally. There's going to be a lot of drive and motivation. What does Gemini loves? It loves conversation, communication, information, learning, ideas, connecting with people, socializing, you know, meeting up with people for conversation, for just to make contact. Very stimulating for the mind. Yep. So just be aware of that. You know, you might be waking up in the middle of the night and the mind's going at 100 miles an hour. I know.
Not more.
I know. So always, I think, you know, an antidote when our mental body and mental energy gets, you know, really stimulated like that is water is very soothing. Pisces, make use of the water. Look, I read something on Facebook the other day and I shared it. It was about just putting, if we're really stressed, you know, for children, for adults, for anybody, put your hands in running warm water. And a friend of mine said, oh, washing up is good then. You know? But absolutely, you know, hands in running water into the bath, feet in a bucket of water with Epsom salts or sea salt or something, you know, getting in the shower and actually not just having a quick shower, but actually feeling the water. You know, it's very calming and soothing, and also, of course, grounding and earthing.
Yes.
Too much mental stimulation. I'm prone to mental stimulation.
Well, yes.
There's a lot of it in the air.
Yes. But I actually enjoy it, you know. I enjoy that, I guess, intellectual titillation, I guess is a way to say it. Yeah,
I do. I
just love it when my mind goes, wow, wow, wow. It's like,
I
like
know.
you said, it's like, and you get these, aha, you know, and information comes in. it's, of course, you know, at night you want that to stop so you can get a good night's
That's
sleep.
right. That's right. We know we need to, you know, have ways and practices and so on to switch off.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same.
And I think we've got to watch that, because our mind can get addicted to that then.
Yes.
That stimulation. So when there's nothing around, it's going, oh, what can I see? What can I do? What, you know? And
it's
so we have to
looking
be
for that buzz because it
yes.
gets excited. So so the other thing about Mars, of course, is Mars is prone to aggression and fight. It is the warrior energy after all. So we will find that there will be a lot of verbal argy-bargy going on in the media, in interviews, in social media, in relationships, in conversations, amongst siblings. It's a sibling sign, Gemini. It's a sign of the twins, siblings. In conversations, you know, you might meet regularly with a group of friends for coffee, and all of a sudden Mars goes into Gemini, and it's not always aggressive either. It could just be like, wow, having really stimulating conversations, but it might also get a bit feisty. Might be some arguments, you know, so that's something to be aware of. So on the 4th of March, for 6 weeks, Mars will be in Gemini. So we will definitely see signs of that, and it will kick in immediately. You know?
Yeah. Just on that point, I'm just wondering, how long does Venus conjunct the Sun in Pisces? How long does it stay like that?
Will she be in Pisces?
Yes.
Venus
okay.
Venus will be moving through the sign of Pisces for about 3.5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's for a large part of March.
Yes, because I was thinking while you were talking that maybe Venus might quell some of that.
Yes, it's a very soothing, relaxing kind of a vibe, and that's a really good point. In fact, Gemini and Pisces are in what we call a square dynamic with each other on the cardinal cross. So they can kind of stimulate. And by the way, not the cardinal cross, I beg your pardon, the mutable cross. I'm glad I caught that. People listening who know about this would have gone, what's she talking about? The mutable signs. Love variety and change and movements. There's a lot of movement with this, but the Pisces can be, that's what I was saying about water, can be very soothing to an overstimulated mind. You know, the soak and getting the body immersed in water. If you can't do that, your hands, your feet. You know, just, you know how sometimes when you're all a bit like, hot and bothered, is just spray yourself with a spritz of water. Or go and stand out in the rain, you know, beautiful. I went for a lovely walk before the storm hit yesterday. Oh, it was just glorious. You know, the atmosphere was beautiful, and then it just started to rain just before I got home, and it's that lovely feeling of rain on your body. It's so nice, especially in summertime. So on the 4th, Mars goes into Gemini, and then the very next day, there's another big hit of this mental air energy. Mercury, the ruling planet of Gemini, is currently in Aquarius, will make an exact conjunction with the planet Jupiter, and both will be at 17 degrees of Aquarius. So Mercury is the mind, is the ruler of Gemini. Mercury, talking, words. Gemini and Mercury is all about words.
Yeah.
You know, words. And speech, you know, written, verbal speech and so on. So this very planet, Mercury, the messenger, is with Jupiter, the big planet, the big in Aquarius, the air sign of, you know, big visions, big ideas, humanity, and so on. So that's interesting that's all happening, you know, within 2 days of each other. So that first week or so, the first half of March, we're going to see a lot of that energy, like quite active, quite active. And then, so I'm just looking at a few things happening between this full moon and the next new moon. As I said, it's not a lot of big themes. On the 11th, the Sun in Pisces will make a conjunction to Neptune, which is in Pisces for 14 years.
Yeah.
So that sun will actually get to Neptune, I didn't check, 20 or 21 degrees. So that's just this Pisces Neptune energy just quite strong on that couple of days around the 11th. I mean, honestly, I'd be, in fact, I've probably already done it, in my diary, crossing a couple of days out around then. I know circumstances don't always allow, we have commitments and things, but where possible, good time to take a couple of days off if that's possible.
Good advice.
Yeah, and just chill and enjoy it. Get to the beach if that's doable, or to bodies of water if that's available. Have healing sessions, that sort of thing. And that brings us to the new moon then, which will be at 23 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Neptune and Venus. So there's a lot more to talk about with this Pisces energy next time as well, because that will be the actual new moon, and it's a very Neptunian one. Very interesting.
Well, for now, we will just take the chill pill.
Take a chill pill.
And relax a bit.
little glass of sherry in the evening, as my mother used to do.
Oh, yes.
Bless my mum, 5 children, worked really hard. She had a couple of planets in Virgo, such a good woman. And the way she coped at the end of the day to cook the family dinner, a couple of wee little glasses of sherry. And why wouldn't you? Just give yourself a little break. So I'm not advocating, alcoholism or anything here, but, it's those things, like just whatever we need. For some people, it's to sit and meditate regularly, or listen to music, or just to zonk in front of the TV for an hour or two every evening. Doesn't matter, just lie on your bed during the day for a little while if you can, read a novel, whatever is the thing.
Yes, yeah.
We've got to be a bit compassionate and kind to ourselves.
Yeah,
none of us are perfect. Virgo expects us to be perfect. And in Pisces, we go, yeah, look, we've all got flaws. We've all got weaknesses. We've all got failings. What does perfection even mean anyway?
I think it's a time for us to be kind and compassionate to ourselves and others always, because everyone's undergoing so much stress from trying to process everything. And I've just got so many friends who just feel overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And even though we don't have a lot of restrictions like we did last year.
Yeah, that's right.
But they still have this strong sense of overwhelm because the world is not the way it was.
No, it's just so radically changed.
Yes, yeah. So, and that's something that we have to deal with and integrate.
Yes, it is a lot to process, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
All of our systems, our body, our nervous system, our minds, our chakra systems, like everything, our soul. It's a lot to process.
And we will.
We will, and we are.
Methodically with Virgo, one day at a time.
That's right. We, find some skills, some techniques, some tools.
Yes.
Virgo is so good at that, finding a couple of little simple, useful, practical, helpful tools that assist.
Yes.
And actually using them.
Yeah.
That's what the earth signs do. They actually use them. They don't just think about them. They
Okay. We know so much and rarely apply much of it at all.
That's right.
Oh, thank you, Babula, once again for your
Thanks, Cheryl.
Great input and insights into, the way that the planets are moving and jostling.
Yes.
Not jostling so much now, but just giving us a bit of a break.
We've got a bit of a breather. I mean, I know there's still a lot going on everywhere, but energetically, I think if we can take a breather, take a bit of space, relax a bit, find some space for that. That's a good opportunity right now.
Yeah.
Not for everybody I know, but in general, absolutely. That's right.
Well, everyone, that's it for now from us, from Astrology Now. And until we see you again next time with the new moon, and we'll talk about that then.
Thanks,
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.